aislado del todo y de todos lados un poco. Lo mismo con las canciones, los pájaros, los alfabetos. Si quieres que algo se muera, déjalo quieto.
Buenos días a todas las personas que hoy nos acompañan. Vamos a dar un minutico más para empezar a las 10 a nuestra hora acordada. Por ahora, bienvenidas a todas las personas que se han conectado con nosotros, a las personas que nos siguen por otras plataformas como Facebook Live. En 30 segundos ya iniciamos. Bienvenidos. Bueno, nuevamente buenos días a todas y a todos, a todas las personas que hoy nos acompañan en este gran evento de lanzamiento del informe y del micrositio Vidas y Territorios en Movimiento, Resistencias de 10 Comunidades Indígenas en Colombia, Ecuador.
Good morning all. Welcome to this event. My name is Natalia Betancourt. I'm part of the team of the Jesuit Refugee Service for Latin America and the Caribbean, and today I'm going to be the moderator of this space.
If there are people that listen in English that need the translation, we have a service of simultaneous translation. You can go to the gloves at the bottom of the Zoom, and you can select that is how you can do it in the Zoom. You can select English version and you can listen to it whenever you want. Bueno, como les decía, esta transmisión va a estar en webinar y también vamos a estar en Facebook Live para que estén conectados, para que nos sigan, para que lo compartan.
So we're going to be in a webinar, we're going to be also on Facebook Live, so you can follow us and comment. So we want to share in this space the work of more than a whole year of investigation with 10 indigenous units in Colombia, Ecuador, and Peru. And this investigation was born in the vulnerability, invisibilization, structural violence, and institutional isolation, plus all the threats to the lives of indigenous peoples that might generate foreign migration we identified in the communities. And we ask ourselves, how does international protection guarantee the rights of the people from indigenous communities? Understanding that these mobilizations are not mobilizations we have always understood in the Western territories as static, but they are mobilizations of or in ancestral territories, and we must protect them wherever they are, or wherever they decide to be. So today, with the tool that we want to share and the work we want to share and the testimonies we bring, we want this to be the continuation of more spaces of local advocacy nationally and internationally, where we will continue insisting and along with the communities and helping them understand and highlighting the importance of accompanying them so their rights are guaranteed. So to begin, we will have a very beautiful moment of harmonization by Jonilda Sierra of the Yucpa Hasika community. She will share with us some traditional chants in order for us to arrive to this space and to connect to the indigenous communities that we inhabit with in this region. So Jonilda, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Puedes hablar de nuevo, Jonilda.
Bueno, muy buenos días. Yo me llamo Jonilda Sierra.
Good morning, all. My name is Jolinda Sierra of the Jukpa community of Cucuta. Here, I'm gonna present a Jukpa harmonization for indigenous communities in our own language.
Pena, pena, ma, pena, pena, ma, pena, ma, ko, pena, pena, ma, ko, pena, pena, ma, ko, garamba, ma, ko, fiesta, 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 subarampa, pa, pa, subarampa. Dano papa, fiesta, 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 Gemana papa, Gemana papa. Joy naipa, joy naipa, yua pushipa, Gemana makopa, Gemana makopa, papa, Gemana makopa. Suarano papa, suarano patu merano pa, patu merano pa, fiesta, 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 dano papa, suarano papa.
Muchísimas gracias, Janilda. Eso estuvo demasiado hermoso.
Thanks a lot, Jonilda. That was beautiful, amazing. Now, Jonilda is in the office of the Jesuit Refugee Service in Cucuta. She's accompanying us from there. This has been a beautiful song that fills us, our beings, and that brings us and attunes us into such an important space that we are sharing today. So thanks for being here. We're going to continue sharing here with the people who have been working with us. Thank you, Janilda. Sorry, here I'm going to introduce my partner, who is Natalia Romero. She also comes to introduce our handcrafts and a little song also. Of course, Janilda, welcome, welcome, Natalia. Good
Mi
morning.
nombre es Natalia Romero.
My name is Natalia Romero. We come from the Yucpa community here in Cucuta. I'm gonna sing a song for God, Kumoko, to bless us today, tomorrow, and every day, toxic or not. As you can see here, we have our handcrafts, Yucpa handcrafts. They are different kinds. We have the full set of necklace and wrist, etc. I am going to sing the song in Yukpa that is dedicated to God Mopo.
Oyauto kumoko tauja oyauto kumoko tauja oyauto kumoko tauja oyauto kumoko awunorka autoheraja auharu ambawonku tuaro wajaipo auharu ambawonku tuaro wajaipo tauja oyauto kumoko tao ja o trong to kumoko aunor auto heraja au haruk ambawonku tuaro wajaipo pena patung me kotor sira.
Muchísimas gracias, Natalia.
Thanks a lot, Natalia. That was beautiful. Our harmonization happens this way. We all introduce ourselves. I also have my partner, Flora. She is also gonna sing. My name is Dora Romero of the Yukpa community from Cucuta. Thank you. I'm gonna sing.
Teletepom, 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 telepom, telepem, telepom. Amo patung, wadi si holamahe. Amo patung, wadi si olamahe. Sini pula ejogele, sini pula si ejogele. Amo si pap, amo lasim, wadias fan olamato. Sini pula ejogele, sini pula si ejogele. Tupasi pap, amo peman. Tupasi hahopeman, regalito si kahel, wanelan watiasipat, sinisimak elepon, watiaspat juwatu pusi, juwatu pi, watiaspat juwatu pusi. Sinisimaco, regalito si jamosima, que le choan guapo, teletepom, pena, gracias, Pati me cortos.
Muchas gracias, Dora. Bonita, Natalia. Es un honor.
Thanks a lot, Dora. That was beautiful. It's an honor to be able to listen to you and to see you. Thanks a lot, really, for sharing with us such a beautiful chants and harmonization. And we also want to connect this amazing harmonization that the Yukpa community have shared with us with today. Today, March 21, is Pakpa Raimi. It's the first feast of the Andean world. Is when the Andean calendar begins, and where we, along with the community, have decided we chose this day for this event because it's a day of flourishing, of being when things are ripe. It's a day of beginning new cycles within the eternal beginnings and endings of cycles. And today we're celebrating this amazing job that has been done with the communities throughout this year. So with this feast and in such an important day, I want to begin to share with you what this very important work has been and where we are sharing it. So Lives and Territories in Movement is a work done in 10 indigenous communities in Colombia, Ecuador, and Peru in this space that is a microsite that you can navigate afterwards is where we are going to find all the jobs done with the communities. And which are the communities that you have worked with? Well, we have the Yukpa community who greeted us this morning. We have the Eñapa community and Puinaba community. Aicofan community, Quichuaciona community, Agua community, Eperara Siapidara community, the Papa Aguajun, Papaenza community, the Aguajun Alto Payacus, also of the Aguajun, and the Shipibo Comibo community. So these 10 communities have been working with us in order to create this amazing research. But we also want you to see the map because the map speaks a lot about the title and today, life, nature, movement, understanding that the territory is not a static territory. As I told you before, it's a territory that moves, that breathes, and that, as the river shows, it is connected to the rest of the world. And it is a territory that, as we see here, we are not displaying the borders, but if we want, we can see the borders. Uh, but today we do not want to talk exclusively about those borders and the countries they uh, shape, but we want to understand how the indigenous communities inhabit the territory and understand the territory. And what does that mean for us as organizations and states? How to understand the best way to guarantee the rights of the communities who decide to mobilize, to move, understanding that they are moving through a living territory. So that's why today we also have a very special guest, who is Milka Franco of the Shipibo community of Cantagallo in Lima. Milka is going to tell us today about how it is to inhabit her territory, which are the characteristics of that territory when indigenous people come to a city, Lima, the capital of Peru. So welcome, Milka.
Muy buenos días, todos y todas.
Good morning, all.
Buenos días, Milka.
Hola, muy buenos días. ¿Cómo están? Hakuya mukiri natusaba kana uinaibu. Muy buenos días.
Good morning. How are you all?
Me llamo Milka Franco.
My name is Milka Franco. My Shipibo name is Mutsagapi.
Cantagallo, Perú.
I come from the Cantagallo Shipibo community
Hoy en
in
día
Peru,
vivimos
in the capital
estando
Lima,
hace más de 22 años.
where we have been
Ahora les
living
voy a
for more than
contar un
22
poco de
years.
nuestra
Now I'm going to
historia.
tell you about our
Cuándo,
history,
con
when
cuántas personas hemos
with how many
empezado
people
a formar
we
por
begun
primera vez
to
una comunidad indígena
create
en una
this
capital
indigenous
única,
community in a very large capital
de
city, which is
adaptarnos
not
a
easy. It's
nuestra
not easy to
comunidad
adapt
de
ourselves to
pueblos
leave
originarios
our originary communities and territories in the
Perú.
jungle, Ucayali in
Desde
Peru,
2001,
and come to this large
hemos
city. So
tenido,
since 2001, we have
a
come
raíz de la invitación de
due
nuestros
to the
hermanos
invitation of
campesinos,
our
por
Andean
primera vez
brothers and sisters for the
en la
first
feria,
time to participate in a
a
fair
mostrar nuestras
to
artesanías de
show
lo que
our
estábamos
handicrafts,
haciendo en
what
nuestros
we
pueblos.
work in our or elaborate in our
Como un mes
back in our communities, and we participated for a
en Lima.
month in
Yo
Lima.
por primera vez en
I
aquel
come
año
that was the first time I came
junto
to the
con
capital
el
city along
apu de la comunidad
with my
que se
Apu of
llama
the
Gustavo.
community that's called
En
Gustavo.
ese
He's
entonces,
called Gustavo. So back then,
nuestro apu coordina con el
our Apu
representante de
coordinates with the
pueblos andinos.
representative of Andean
Después de
peoples,
terminar, faltando
and
terminar unos 3 días, porque era
and
un lugar
it was
grande,
a large
espacioso.
place, spacious
Y
place,
entonces nuestro
mm,
apu coordinó y
and he
entonces
coordinated
tomamos la decisión de
an
poder
activity, and
quedarnos
we
en
made the
ese lugar.
decision
Y
of
es más, también
staying there
buscamos la
in that
manera
place.
como
And we also seek
tener nuestros
or
ingresos
sought
económicos
for a way
para
to
hacer estudiar a
have
nuestros
our
hijos que no tenían
income in order
oportunidades
to
de sacar vida
provide
adelante.
study to our
Y así
children.
vinimos
And
en la ciudad
that's
tan
how
grande
we came to this
de
large
que no
city.
era fácil de
And,
adaptarse
and it was not easy at
porque
all
no
for
había
us
la
to adapt
comida,
because we
los
did not
plátanos,
have
todo
our
lo que
kind of
nosotros
food,
consumimos.
our plantain, everything that we
Es así
consume.
que
And
cuando hacemos con
In this way, we did an important effort to disseminate our arts and culture and to carry on life with our children. And we were able to do it. It was not impossible for us. And nowadays, we have already been 22 years here located. Our is in the capital, Lima, is the first indigenous community that has been settled here. And we have been practicing our living culture, our art, our Amazonian cosmovision, our traditional chants. And nowadays we have within the community an bilingual intercultural school has been created in which indigenous Shipiba Konibo teachers work, and our new generations our new generations continue to practice our language, our tongue, and they continue carrying forward our culture and traditions, so it's not forgotten. And that's the goal for which we, along with our APU of the community, we went to the Ministry of Education to ask for the possibility of creating this traditional school here. And we are fighting day after day because we have many needs here in our community. And even though we as indigenous women, we consider ourselves strong and resistant, and we have undergone many difficult things within the city. Uh, our houses were burned because within the communities, the houses are not built of resistant materials, but they are wooden. And such as we live in the jungle, it's like a little cement jungle, we always say. And this has made us feel that we do not feel less due to that reason, but we feel that we are empowered indigenous Shipibo women. We have been receiving workshops such as the ones provided by Proyecto Encuentro. We have learned many things in those workshops that we have been receiving since 2022. How to make our rights as indigenous women to be respected, because we have been vulnerated many times, our rights, our territories. So in this way, nowadays, we continue working as resistant women, as strong women. We continue disseminating and visibilizing, uh, using our arts, and we demonstrate, we express ourselves, we express our feelings and the needs that we have within the community. And it's a sad story. We have sad stories and we have happy stories that we have been experiencing up to today. And we are going forward. We're carrying forward, carrying our children forward. And it's about feeling proud as women and as originary peoples who are settled in the capital, Lima, such a large city. And that's what I have, that's what I wanted to share with you, dear brothers and sisters. I feel very happy about sharing through this means to be in connection with the brothers in Ecuador, in Colombia. This is the opportunity we always want to have. And we appreciate that the project gives us this opportunity to share our real stories that we have experienced in such a large city as Lima. So thanks a lot to each one of you.
Muchísimas gracias a ti, Milka, por compartirnos
Thanks a
todas
lot, Milka,
sus
for sharing
resistencias,
everything,
sus
for
vidas
sharing your
y su lucha por
resistances,
estar
your
aquí
experiences, and also
como comunidad.
everything you have
Y pues un
achieved
gusto muy
as
grande que puedas
community and what
compartirlo
you will
con nuestra
continue
raza.
achieving
Sus derechos siempre deben
for
ser
your rights.
garantizados.
to be guaranteed always as they should. And we will continue here along to walk along with you in order to make that possible. Thank you very much. Very well, so as I was telling you, and as Milka also told us, the communities are the ones who speak. They are the voice of this space. They are the ones who tell us their stories, their resistances, their experiences, their lives. Each of these communities, for example, if we go to the ICOFAN community, here we can click and we will see what this community has sought to share. So let's see what they want to tell us in this video.
Inge Patangui fue pueblo originario, fa. Ganse fangi Ecuador ni. Inge pamandatzatesu fa ai. Zombita kofaniskin. Inge Patangui fue nacionalidad ñuame que ande makura pa ganse yates chufa. Zakambangi ainde kuha inge ganse chuande neha nasufa. Ganse fangi tayupi ye na etufani. Ame afingi zampi. Na tuyaken anya chumaki. Zakambangi kuira pa ganse fa vandena. Ainda que tenha província sucumbiu ni câncer, Huangi Naini, Tatsu Aguarico, Tuyacan Chandenai. Nha câncer de comunidade Tatsu Cofandureno. Ainda que comunidades Tatsu Catafai Cantón Hifa, Centro Peritocan que Tatsu pertenece a comunidad Cofandureno, Cantón La Guagrio. Empresas petroleras de Kukani, básicamente can que daño ba, cáncer fa indiano. Zumba.
Bueno, como pueden escuchar, estas voces son las voces de las comunidades, son las
So
voces
here we listen to the voices of the communities who are not speaking only to us, they are speaking to their brothers and sisters of other communities that have been working and are still working with us in this amazing project. So here you can continue listening to this and other voices of all of the communities because in each of the pages in the website, in the micro website, so you find their stories. And we are also going to find important information here, such as where do they inhabit? Where can we find the community with whom we have been working? Who do they relate to? They have support relationships, they have tension, relationships of tension. If life and community are protected and by whom and how are they protected? These are also important pieces of data. Not only that, but as I told you also, this is a process that is alive, that is in movement permanently, and that will continue taking place, that will have following steps in how to find better guarantees for the protection of rights. That's why today we also want to, we're going to have many voices today because that's what this important work is about. It's for me, it's a symphony of living voices that share about this great project. This project was achieved thanks to a consortium and thanks to the community promoters of each of the communities. The consortium, let's talk first about it, contributed to the methodological support of the investigation, and it comprises four organizations: the Pensar Institute of the Javeriana University of Bogota, by Encuentros of the Migrant Jesuit Service in Peru, and by two offices of the JRS, the Office of Ecuador and the Office of Latin America and the Caribbean. That's why today we want to bring somebody who was part of these consortiums, one of the researchers, in order to get to know more about his experience of investigation, how they experienced this investigation, how they reached the findings. So we want to welcome Diego Yela, who is here with us from Quito, Ecuador. Welcome, Diego.
Hola,
Hello.
buenos días con todas y todos.
Good
Mi
morning,
nombre
all
es
and
Diego Yela, soy
everybody. My name
secretario de
is
trabajo para
Diego
el
Yela. I am from
Instituto
Ecuador. I
Ecuador del
work for
Ecuador.
the
Este
Jesuit
es un
refugee
evento
service in
donde
Ecuador,
la
and
investigación
I'm
se
speaking on
comparte
behalf
con las promotoras de
of the
comunidades y
investigation team
comunidades,
that comprises the
las
promoters of the
diferentes
communities
nacionalidades
and
indígenas
the
originarias,
different
las personas
directors of the
comprometidas con la
communities
investigación
in originary communities and the accompanying persons for the investigation from Colombia, Instituto Pensar, Encuentro of the Migrant Jesuit Service in Peru, and the International Office of JRS for the Latin America and the Caribbean. So thanks for all of them and their support in the investigation. We have been working for a whole year to be prepared to approach to this topic in these territories, which are very complex territories, especially the ones in the border. So in order to understand the challenges in these communities face for their protection when they are under conditions of mobility. And we did a very dynamic teamwork due to a high level of interaction between the people who are part of the team and who come from different life experiences and academic experiences. We had different enriching perspectives, in this case, investigating with particular dynamics, ethnical, biopolitical, geopolitical, and economical, enriched our work much more. And this was key, the active participation of the promoter, of the community promoters who got engaged in the discussion of the final methodology applied to the territory, which enabled us to learn mutually and to adapt to what each circumstance required. It's important to mention that from the Pensar Institute in Colombia, a structure or skeleton of the methodology was proposed for this investigation, and it was validated through analysis and dialogues with the accompanying staff along the whole process. Having present the diversity of situations in each community, this structure was flexible enough for the application to have their own adaptations and methodological tools in the field work of each particular territory. And based on the general proposal of the spaces of listening, we were able to establish in the territories with the promoters the tools that we would apply. In this case, and in all the cases, we proposed mini workshops and mapping workshops, social cartography. We interviewed uh, leaders and different people who know the realities of the territories, technicians from NGOs, people from the academy. And beyond that, we visited the families, we interacted with them. We did the our field diaries and photographic registries, and we're analyzing challenges and gaps of protection with the communities entailed overcoming different aspects. The most important ones to propose a line of discussion and changing or understanding the problems they have and giving new meanings to them, and to listen to the alternatives they propose from within the communities, especially from women's voices. Another important aspect was the debate about the understanding from the communities and their ancestral knowledge about what they understand as territory, because they have their own maps, they have their own ways of understanding the space. And also, what do they understand by migration, um, or for added to the political and debates and judicial debates around that in their spaces. And with these investigations, we bring forward the voice of the communities as a key actor, central actor in these debates or discussions. And as a conclusion, we have seen with all the team some brief points that may open more space for analysis and debate. The communities have resisted and will continue resisting in the defense and preservation of their territories where they share life, that is almost always threatened by dynamics and activities that are external, extractivist, energetic, agro-industrial, military, within many others, or among many others. Within the communities, the women have a key role in the structure and in the resistances of the communities. The cultures are dynamic. They are moving territories, as this investigation states. In the indigenous worlds, all the elements, all the beings are interrelated. As persons and societies, Western societies, we have an important historical depth in the present with the originary indigenous communities and peoples. There is still institutional racism, and it continues to generate uh, the indigenous peoples are still seen as different, strange, far away. And in this sense, we're also proposing short-term solutions from the states to structural problems that require long-term commitments and perspectives. These 10 communities are fully committed to taking care of life and of their territories. We know that many more communities, indigenous communities, want really to defend their territories. In this sense, the states, the international community, the civil society really wants to commit themselves. Based on this investigation, we propose new spaces of dialogue in order to explore new ways of commitment and protection. And I want to mention also a saying that I heard from a friend, uh, Quichua Lorocachi of the Yasuni Puhi people. He said the indigenous people only want to live. We want to hunt, we want to fish, and we want to think as we do. Our spirits are dying because they see that the rivers are polluted, that the animals are dead. So I reflect that if the spirits are dying, it's because something serious is going on in the indigenous territories. Thanks a lot to all.
Muchas gracias a ti, Diego, por todo lo que nos compartes. Ha sido muy bonito el camino recorrido y
Thank
ha
you,
sido
Diego, for everything you share. The This has been a very important experience, and everything you say is really interesting and important. We also want to bring a voice of a community promoter who worked with us in these years and who is going to share today the impacts or the influence that it has had upon him to participate in this project, upon him and upon his community. So from Peru, welcome Milto from the Awahu peoples.
Mi nombre es Milton Julón
My
Canque.
name is Miltos Punonganke. I was born in the Alto Pupuntas community, that is a community annex to the Paracus community. I am a father, I have my wife, two children. I have an important role within my community. I am the general secretary of the community, and I currently devote myself to agriculture in the field and family agriculture. Thanks to the workshops, we have been able to wake up, we have been able to see perspectives, understanding that there are possibilities of change. We have also been able to get to know our rights as indigenous peoples through the workshops, to know about the benefits we have as and advantages and disadvantages as indigenous communities and the potentialities that we have, also the challenges and needs. So those workshops have helped us a lot as community, and thanks to them, the participants have been transmitting this information to the population, and I see there is a change, perhaps not of physical activity, but at least of mindset. We have many plans in the community to improve towards the future. The main needs that we as indigenous communities here in the Uparacos community have, there would be some. The most important one, communication. We also have the urgent need of educational infrastructure. We have a school, but it does not have infrastructure. We already have a resolution for it. The other need is the health infrastructure, health facility, and another one is to implement on behalf of the local government to implement productive projects, because we have chronic malnutrition in the community, and this is key to improve the quality of the way we feed and the food sovereignty. The needs we have seen in the workshops that one way or another we can find solutions for these needs. We have the sensation that we are going to be able to find responses in the future and answers to them. Encuentros is the first institution or NGO that comes to this community and provides us with a training and workshops that helps us understand our needs and our problems, and according to that, also seek for alternatives to solve them. No other institution has come here and trained us and helped us understand our needs and raise awareness in such way. One of the impacts that the workshops have provided to us in the communities and men and women and children. One is to rescue the main rights of women. Encuentros has raised awareness, for example, around this. I have learned that women have the same capacities, same needs, same rights, same um, duties as males. We have learned to have higher appreciation for shared work within men and women, and our children have an important role in our families. So we have entered into a space of dynamizing the activities and roles better within a family.
Muchísimas gracias a Milton y a
Thanks a
todos.
lot to Milton and to everything that he has shared. My heart really is really moved when I listen to this video. I have listened to it many times. And give me a second, please.
He escuchado el video todas estas veces
I
posibles.
have seen this video. I have watched it many times, and it always moves my heart. And that's the idea, that it moves us, that it touches us. As Diego said, towards a commitment around how we work along with indigenous communities to guarantee their rights and to guarantee that their rights are always protected everywhere they are. But these are not the only testimonies that we want to bring today. We have rendered this idea so you know much more about what has happened here in the project in a very special section that we prepared in this space. So remember that we are here. We went into the ICOFAN community on the website where we have this important data. And here you can also find the news in which communities themselves share with us what they are doing currently. As I have mentioned several times, this is not the only space of dialogue where we are presenting these results, but also throughout the countries since January and before, we have been carrying out advocacy activities and dialogue with other actors in order to guarantee the rights of the indigenous people. So here you can see the news. And if you want to say, okay, Natalia, I only want to know what is happening in Colombia, you can also filter the news per country, per community, and also we are going to have this space of coverage in which we are going to be able to know if these actions that are executed will take place locally, nationally, or internationally. So here we see the news from each of the communities. For example, the protection of the Agua community, workshops, training processes, everything that is taking place in this project, you are going to get to know it here. And given that we are in March, it's the commemoration of the Day of Women. So let's take a look at this news, the news from the Puinawe community, Puinawe women, that in the March 8th, in the commemoration of the International Day of the Working Woman, they did activities to honor the indigenous women who have resisted and still live in their communities and still work to make things better. So here you're going to find a description, but it's let's better listen to them telling us about this process and how this March 8 was for them.
nací en Colombia,
I was
allá
born in Colombia, in Orinoco Berocal. And then I met Joel, and then I went to live to Venezuela with him. And later on, I lived in the San Juan de Ocata community. And then I went to Puerto Ayacucho with my children in order to educate them. My name is Elisa Moyano. Back in 1975, I think I was born. I came here. I lived in Guaviare for several years, but they killed the father of my children. So I went to Venezuela. I've been there for several years, and I had nothing to do. I had no job. And I came back to this territory where I had family, my brothers, and my parents who already died. My name is Jenny Dorante. I'm 33 years old. I was born in Venezuela. My community lives in Venezuela. It's called San Juan de Icar, where where I grew. Back then, there was a school in the community. I studied up to sixth grade, and then I went to Puerto Ayacucho. There, I finished my studies. The stereotype is a generalized vision of attributes, characteristics, women as territory. With the saying, women as territory, forced and be mistreated, reveal themselves. Women gather at the place in Guinea for this demonstration. Responding to the calling of the empowered women of Guinea, Deborah and Alicia gathered with other women to elaborate the signs they were going to carry that day. They made them in order to provide support to women who are going to walk in the 8th of March. We want to go to demonstrate.
Muchísimas gracias a las mujeres de la comunidad Puinabe que
Thanks
nos
a lot to the women of the Puinabe community who shared how they spent the 8th of March and what it has meant for them and everything that's coming. Due to actions such as this, we want you to continue accompanying us. We want you to continue joining the voices of the communities, that we continue walking together, because these months, throughout these months, we will have many more events, and we are also going to have many more spaces of dialogue, as Diego mentioned, that seek to guarantee the rights of the indigenous communities in the whole region. And as Diego also said, we're working with 10 communities, but we want them to be many more, so we can guarantee the rights and that they have much broader spaces to access, not only in these three countries, but in the whole Latin American and Caribbean region, because in all our region, the communities and brothers and sisters from indigenous communities are fighting and they're resisting um, for their rights, and we must continue walking along with them in order to guarantee those rights. And as I said, we are going to have some very specific dates, but I also want to tell you that since January locally, there have been advocacy events uh, on behalf of the communities along with the institutions of the consortium, but also dialoguing with public institutions, with other organizations. We are also going to have national actions in these months where we are going to meet with embassies, other international organizations. We are going to talk with universities. So this becomes something that is quotidian, talking about this, disseminating this information, because it is speaking that we can achieve change, is making pressure. We can create the changes. And that's why we're also going to develop a very large Latin American seminar about indigenous peoples and nationalities. This is gonna take place in 5 Tuesdays in 9 a.m. Colombia time, from May 30 up to June this year. So we invite you to be there to listen to the voices of other communities in the region, where the idea, as I say and again and reiterate, is that we continue sharing and we continue resisting for the rights of communities to be guaranteed. And I mentioned it again and again, so it really gets into your heart. And to invite you to continue um, navigating the microsite. Now, um, I will continue sharing. We were taking a look at the news, and we can go to the start again, where we see life and territories in movement. We talked about this beautiful living map, and now we can also find the investigation reports. You're going to have 4 documents, because these documents are going to be translated into English, and they are also going to be in language, they're in the original language, that is Spanish. So you're going to find 4 territories. One is a synthesis or a summary, where the idea is that the findings and methodological basis are shared. So here you see the whole full synthesis document. And here, coming back, to the documents, we can find here the full report, in which we are going to find all the work, the full work of what has been done throughout the year, all the voices of the communities. And it is a report that is going to have similar graphs to these ones that we see here. So we are always reminded about the life of this territory. And while it loads, it's not only the life of the territory, but their colors, as you have seen today in with many of the people who have spoken. The red color is very present, and red, that means life, and means resistance, and means a whole cosmovision in which red becomes a main thread to understand what communities have done. Here we can also come in, and you can see an index to understand the contents, the chapters of Colombia, Ecuador, and Peru. It has been a very long work. And for you to navigate it and to get to know it more in depth, and for you to know, we have worked in very large teams, and this has also been thanks to the work of all the people that we have been able to render all of this. Now here you can also find news if you want to read them, and this wouldn't have been possible without the support of the office uh, of the Department of State of the United States. And also it wouldn't be possible without the work and resistances shared by these same communities in their openness to working together and to continue resisting in the Latin American region. As I said, behind this work, there have been a lot of people, and one of them that we want to especially thank, or a team that we want to thank, is Latitude Studio, that made it possible to graph and to bring these stories into life, to put in graphics, everything that we have been sharing. So, okay, you can say, okay, Natalia, this is amazing, but where can I find it? Where can I find the link? How can I interact with all of these voices and resistance? Well, here in this webinar, as well as in the Facebook site, we are also going to share with you the link where you can go in and explore and disseminate. The idea is that this is open for everybody in all the world. And with this, I'm gonna start to bring this space to an end, thanking for your company and participation. throughout this hour to get to know better about lives in territories and movement resistance of 10 indigenous communities in Ecuador, Colombia, and Peru. And I want to continue inviting you to accompany them to defend their rights. So for the panelists who are here today, please, I invite you to turn your cameras on and also to say goodbye, to greet our participants, because it's also thanks to them, to all of these participants, that we are able to reach much further. So Jonilda, Milka, Diego, all of the people who are behind the scenes, please turn your camera on, please greet us again. Thanks a lot to everybody for being here with us. I hope you have a great day. Happy Paupa Raimi, and that life, movement, and resistances continue flourishing in this new year for the Andean nations and peoples. Thank you.
Muy buenos días a todos los amables oyentes en esta mañana de su radio Intidaiti. Allí ya chukaliyachu walayachu mereya kasekichis. Kay qosqollaqtapiqa qillatata qawallaqtakunapi uyarimarniykuna wayqikuna panaykuna. Kunaqa allintaki wayrakuna chaymuqa kay Puerto Rico nacionmanta pacha. Paykuna sutikmi calle 13. Y las patas vemos taquita pomanchis. Chaytaki sutikmi Latinoamérica. Uyarikusunchis.
Cancunapa. Soy lo que dejaron, soy toda la sobra de lo que se robaron. Un pueblo escondido en la cima, mi piel es de cuero, por eso aguanta cualquier clima. Soy una fábrica de humo, mano de obra campesina para tu consumo. Frente de frío en el medio del verano, el amor en los tiempos del cólera, mi hermano. El sol que nace y el día que muere, con los mejores atardeceres. Soy el desarrollo en carne viva, un discurso político sin saliva. Las caras más bonitas que he conocido, soy la fotografía de un desaparecido. La sangre dentro de tus venas, soy un pedazo de tierra que vale la pena una canasta con frijoles. Soy Maradona contra Inglaterra, anotándote 2 goles. Soy lo que sostiene mi bandera, la espina dorsal del planeta en mis cordilleras. Soy lo que me enseñó mi padre, el que no quiere a su patria, no quiere a su madre. Soy América Latina, un pueblo sin pierna pero que camina. Oye,
Tú no puedes comprar al viento, tú no puedes comprar al sol, tú no puedes comprar la lluvia, tú no puedes comprar el calor, tú no puedes comprar las nubes, tú no puedes comprar los colores, tú no puedes comprar mi alegría, tú no puedes comprar mis dolores, tú no puedes comprar al viento, tú no puedes comprar al sol, tú no puedes comprar la lluvia, tú no puedes comprar el calor, tú no puedes comprar las nubes, tú no puedes comprar los colores, tú no puedes comprar mi alegría, tú no puedes comprar mis dolores.
tengo los lagos, tengo los ríos, tengo mis dientes pa' cuando me sonrío, la nieve que maquilla mis montañas, tengo el sol que me seca y la lluvia que me baña, un desierto embriagado con peyote, un trago de pulque para cantar con los coyotes, todo lo que necesito. Tengo a mis pulmones respirando azul clarito, la altura que sofoca. Soy las muelas de mi boca, mascando coca, el otoño con sus hojas desmayadas, los versos escritos bajo la noche estrellada, una viña repleta de uvas, un cañaveral bajo el sol en Cuba. Soy el mar Caribe que vigila las casitas, haciendo rituales de agua bendita, el viento